Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this light and airy baby blanket. I've included links in the description below for the written pattern, and I've also included the list of materials needed in the description below. Go ahead and have a look at those helpful links, and let's go ahead and get started on this project. All right, so we're going to begin with our chain. So you're going to make your starting loop by wrapping the yarn around your finger and letting it cross over itself like this. Pick up a little bit of that bottom piece and then just push a bit of that top piece through. Go ahead and get that onto your hook. If you have another way that you like to make your starting loop, that's of course fine too. Just sharing my way for those that are brand new to crochet. All right, so let's go and begin with our starting chain. You're going to yarn over your hook and pull it right through your loop. Yarn over, pull through your loop. Yarn over, pull through your loop. And you're just going to keep on going until you get to a chain count of 104. So you can pause this video, go ahead and continue working your chain until you get to 104 chains and then come back. All right, so now that you've finished your starting chain, we're going to begin with our V-stitches. So going into the fourth chain from your hook, so 1, 2, 3, into this fourth chain here from your hook, we're going to work a double crochet. So you're going to yarn over your hook, push your hook through that chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now you've got 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, and pull through the next 2. You're going to chain 1, and we're going to work another double crochet in the same chain space. So you're going to yarn over, push your hook through that same chain space, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. Okay, so now we're going to skip these next 2 chains and we're going to go into the third one. We're going to work another V-stitch. So you're going to yarn over, work your double crochet. So go into that chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2, chain 1, and work another double crochet into that very same chain space. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and continue this all the way down. So you're going to skip these next 2 chains, work your V-stitch into this one. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet again in the same space. Skip the next 2, go into this third one, same thing. So do this all the way down till you get to the end of your row and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so when you get to the very end of your row, you're going to realize you're left with 1 more chain space. You're just going to work a regular double crochet into that very last chain. Okay, this is why I used a hook that was quite a bit bigger than the yarn calls for. I just love the airy look that it gives for this particular blanket design. All right, so now we're going to begin our next row. We're going to chain 2 and turn our work. Into the very first space here, we're just going to work a regular double crochet. Oops. Now we're going to work around the chain space from the previous row that's in between our V-stitch from the previous row. And that's where we're going to work our V-stitches for this next row. So we're going to work our double crochet around the chain space, chain 1, and work another double crochet around that same chain space so that we've now completed another V-stitch and above the one that we just did. And you're just going to do that all the way down. So I'm going over to the next chain 1 space from the previous row that's between a V-stitch, and I'm working my double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet again. All right, and that's really it. So you're going to go ahead and continue on working your V-stitches. In the pattern, I've included a blanket size chart in case you're working on a different blanket size other than a baby blanket. But for this particular pattern, you're going to go ahead and keep on working the way that we just did this row here. So we're going to go ahead and work right down to the very end, okay? Working our V-stitch around each chain one space. Pause your video. When you get to the end of this row, come back. I'm just going to show you how we finish off because we're working on a regular row now. So it might appear a little bit different than it did when we were just working in our starting chain. Okay, so let's go ahead, pause the video, finish this row, come back when you get to the end, and then I'll go over with you how many rows you're going to work and showing you how we end this row and move on to the next one. Okay, now that you're at the end of that row, we're going to work our double crochet into the very last stitch. We're going to chain 2 and turn our work. And you're just going to continue on working a double crochet in that first stitch and then working your V stitches around all of the chain 1 spaces from the previous row. You're going to go ahead and continue on for a total of 42 rows. That's including the 2 that you just did. So continue working your blanket for another 40 rows. You can change colors as you go. Mine, I'm using a few different colors. Or you can use one solid color, whatever it is that you're doing, but you're going to go ahead and continue on now for 40 more rows of what we just worked together. And then come back and I'll show you how to finish up. Okay, so now that you've finished those rows, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to finish up. All right, so at the end of the last row that you've worked, you're just going to chain 1. Now you can either finish here or you can turn your work, and if you wanted to work a border around, it's just completely by choice. For this particular blanket, I'm not going to be working a border. I'm leaving it as it is. You can just pull up a little bit and fasten it off with your pair of scissors. Use your yarn needles to weave all of the tail ends in and out. I'm going to show you how I do that in just a moment. But for those of you that want to work a border, you're just going to evenly single crochet all the way around, okay? You want to make sure that around each corner, you're working 3 stitches, whatever stitch you choose to do for your border. If it's single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, whatever you're doing for your border, you want to make sure that you're working 3 stitches in every single corner to give it a nice corner, a clean cut. Otherwise, it's going to buckle and kind of round. So just a little tip there. But for this particular blanket, I'm not working a border. I'm going to fasten off right here, and I'm going to go get my yarn needle so I can weave in all the tail ends. All right, so you're just going to go ahead and fasten off with a little bit of extra yarn because you want to have some room to work it in and hide it so it doesn't come loose at all. I just weave the stitches in and out. And there's no rhyme or reason to how I do it. I just like to make sure that I hide and secure the yarn. So I'll just kind of like wrap it around, tuck it in. And then once I get in a little bit in the work, I'll kind of go up and around the last one and through my loop. So it's kind of like tying it off. It's a little bit more secure in my opinion, and you don't feel a knot. Okay, and then just snip that right down. And you can do that for all the tail ends. If you've changed colors like I did, you've probably got a few, but you definitely have one from the beginning. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this pattern. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the helpful links in the description below.